And we're really, really excited to have you all here for BeaverHacks 2025! So, over the next 24 hours, you're all going to be competing in a hackathon, and you're going to be embarking on a journey of personal growth. You might experience some setbacks, but at the end, you're going to come out better, than what. It doesn't matter if you're the first event, first time coming here, or if you're a seasoned pro, experienced coder, this hackathon is going to have something big for all of you. Have we got 3 months?
Yep. We've been working for the last couple of months to put this event together, and it all comes down to this weekend. Gathered over 350 students across 10 plus universities across the nation. We scared so many sponsors who are generously providing a ton of prize money, up to $5,000, and you guys can win this weekend. This is your guys' weekend. Compete, put yourself out there. BeaverHacks is your stage. We're thrilled to see what you guys make.
I didn't see a button that just changes to front-facing camera.
Rule number 1.
Yeah, I think landscape, I think this is fine because you don't need to go landscape for this. Are you trying to get it to landscape? Yeah, I think portrait's fine, right? Because you captures everything.
Our judges will be going over that to make sure you guys are possible.
Yeah, it just kept giving me the notification right now.
So yeah, although you might want to get right into your project, I did recommend checking out the sponsor tables that are towards the end of the back.
Big area, as well as 4 other classrooms over in the back, and pretty much any other open space on the first floor. Although we do ask that you guys don't go up to the 2nd floor, please stay down here and don't enter any of the offices.
Hey, I'm supposed to be here.
On to the schedule now.
Yeah. So of course, hacking is going to start at 1:30 today. It's going to end at 1:30 tomorrow on Sunday. That gives you a full 24 hours to build your projects and build something really cool.
When you guys get hungry, we'll have dinner at 6 p.m. Please only take 1 meal though. If you get hungry again, we'll have a midnight snack. And then in the morning tomorrow at 9:30, we'll have brunch.
You got plenty of drinks and snacks too. Keep you guys powered up. And then you want to add your last finishing touches to your project by 1:30 p.m. tomorrow, and that's when the hacking ends. All hands up, and then we're going to start the next part.
Yeah, so we also won't be continuing with that deadline. You guys have to have your project at 1:30. That includes your dev code submission, which I recommend you spend at least 1 hour completing. You'll have to have a YouTube demo, a link to your GitHub repository, and a lengthy description describing your projects so that our judges online can look at them and judge them. So then at 2:30, judging will commence. We have a couple of representatives from our company who will be, or from our sponsors, who will be doing in-person judging. And then we have a ton online who are also going to be judging your projects. Don't be sad if a judge doesn't come around to you in person. It just means that there's too many projects for a time allowed.
At the end, we're going to have a closing ceremony where we'll announce the people who win the awards, and we'll also have some finishing speeches. But yeah, that'll be at 4 p.m. tomorrow, Sunday. And one other thing, we've had some people here from AI4SC, and they're here to kind of be a fly on the wall, and they're looking to do research on how developers work with AI during hackathons. So see what works, see what doesn't. And so if your team is cool with it, one of their observers will sit in and take notes during your hackathon session. Zero judgment, no money. And we'll also fill out a short survey for dinner and share a couple of prompts that you're comfortable with. And if you agree to this, you'll get $20. So each person on your team will get $20. So definitely give it a shot. Yeah, if you're down to help them out, they'll be coming around after the opening ceremony when we have the industry sponsor period. So just reach out to them. They'll probably come to you first. And yeah.
That's about it. Next, we'll have our paneling with our industry sponsors. Thank you guys.
All right, so first up, Our first guest needs no introduction. He's been coding for over 30 years, coding on stages around the world, works as the VP of the Microsoft developer community, and taught millions of his content online. He's the creator and host of Cancel Minutes podcast, longtime champion for open source, and a developer who's made it his mission to make tech more human, inclusive, and accessible. Please join me in welcoming Scott Hanselman. How are you doing, Scott? Good, I'm good. How are you?
I'm just amazed how many people are here.
Hey,
Like,
good.
y'all need to give yourself a hand for showing up. Because there are so many people. Tech is social. Tech is a social thing. Like, there's this whole ethos about, like, yeah, there's a guy in a room, he's in a room, push beats on the door, go to peers. Right, that's all BS. This is the closest thing to what like actual tech work would be. Working in small groups, getting stuff done under a deadline for $20.
No, you're totally right about that.
What's that? There's no pizza, you only eat $20 coupon. Sorry. And there's no snacks after 1 a.m.
So I have a couple of questions prepared for you.
Yes,
First
sir.
one, we know that you have a pretty big presence online, and you make some content, but content creation isn't really a typical thing for someone who's in our field.
Yeah.
As someone myself who makes content online as well, related to CS, I know there's a lot of struggles and different challenges that come with it that might not typically be associated or realized at first. So, yeah, I'm just curious to know, like, what's that like being in this?
Well, for context, I have a couple of podcasts. I've got one called Azure Friday, I've got the Azure Cloud, I've got one called Cancel Minutes, which is coming up on episode 1000. So I've done a podcast every Thursday for the last 18 years. I'm on episode 997 right now. Now, I'm telling you that, not to be like, hey, look at me, check me out. I'm telling you that because it's a marathon. The world is littered with YouTubes that have 7 videos. The world is littered with podcasts that have 9 little sad episodes, and then they fall off. Tech is a marathon. I've been doing this for money for 32 years, and for free for over 40. And that's because I didn't quit, I didn't overextend myself, I didn't get bullied out, nobody told me I couldn't do it, I stuck with it. So I want you all to have a really long career, and if it's going to be coding and not doing content creation, or content creation and a little bit of coding, like you need to recognize that it is a marathon. Now, the thing with content creation, why am I doing that? I'm not trying to be like one of the bros, the mustache YouTubers, if you know what I'm talking about. Like, I could probably grow a mustache and do more mustache YouTubing, but like, that's not a real job. Like, influencer is not a real job, right? That's just capitalism and mustaches. The reason I'm telling you that is you have to ask yourself, why is the person doing this? Do they want me to click the link and like go to the TikTok shop? Are they sponsored by somebody? I just want you to win. I want you to be well. I want you to buy a house and have a family where it makes you happy. So my content creation is because I'm so freaking stoked about tech that I want you to know about it. Have you heard the news? Have you heard the news about Copilot? Like that kind of thing. I'm not trying to sell you anything. You want to use it, that's cool. It just needs more Copilot for me. So when you think about why you do the content, are you just doing it because you're stoked?
Yeah, exactly.
That's why you do content creation.
So I think, yeah, that's a huge part of it because there's that monetary side to it, but it's really about the passion. And that's kind of what we do here at BeaverHacks. The reason this whole event happened is because we have such a committed team who's just passionate about doing
For
stuff.
real. I was here for the snacks, but y'all are here for the passion, and I appreciate that.
Yeah, we have some really cool
But
things.
I also want, if I may, I know you have questions, but I also want to call out the importance of hackathons for like making things that will help people. I don't want you to think that this is where the startup happens. I'm getting my roommate doing a startup. Solve a problem. So you can't tell because I just look like a rich white guy that drove up from Portland, but a hackathon keeps me alive. I'm a type 1 diabetic, and I've been hooked up to an open source artificial pancreas for the last 10 years. I've been looping real time on a hacked insulin pump on an FDA non-approved Swift app that runs on my iPhone because of a hackathon. That's important. Solve a problem, make someone's life better. Thank you.
Yeah, I don't know how to follow that up, honestly.
No, I just
Yeah, can you hear that? here who haven't been in the hackathon before.
Oh, yeah.
And that can be kind of intimidating. For those people who just don't know where to start, what would you recommend be like the first step?
I would say try to get comfortable with being uncomfortable. I know people are clicked up with the people that they know and their friends and stuff like that, but try to widen the circle a little bit, bring new people in. Remember that this is a practice for work as much as it is a hackathon. And one of the things that people don't realize is that they think tech is all about leak code and memorizing algorithms and being the smartest. I don't want to work with the smartest person because inevitably there's a smartness asshole ratio. And I don't care how you can grind leak code, you're dead. I don't want to work with you. Okay? Working in group projects like we're going to do in this hackathon is literally how tech works. So work on your ability to make your ideas communicated. And if you don't agree, if you guys have a fight, an algorithmic fight, a directional fight, acknowledge it and disagree, and then commit to a direction. That's what I would say. This is practice for real life. This is adulting in this hackathon.
100%. In your content, you talk a lot about being a person and not just a developer. We just talked about that too.
Correct.
But yeah, what does that mean in the context of this space particularly?
I just think that when I grew up in the 80s, there was this idea of like the nerd with the paper in their lap, and like, yeah, I'm really going to, and Bill Gates wrote the internet all by himself. Like that mythos, it's group, it's people, it's solving real problems, it's solve real people's issues and make life better. Whether it be Copilot, which is a team that I work on, my team owns. For context, I work at Microsoft, as we mentioned, and I own Visual Studio for education, Visual Studio Code Marketplace, and I work on Copilot and stuff like that. So Copilot's a great example. This is a thing that's going to make you mid really fast. Copilot will make expert beginners. Use this as an opportunity to learn how stuff actually works. You're not going to vibe code your way through this problem. You don't vibe code hackathon. Because eventually you're going to have to vibe your way through the interview and then vibe your way through your 5th-year anniversary of the company, and someone's going to eventually figure out you don't know what the hell you're doing. Right? And imposter syndrome is already a problem. I've been at Microsoft for 17 years. And I've been coding for 32, and I still feel awkward and uncomfortable because maybe I didn't go to a fancy enough school or I don't know enough. And AI is going to make that worse. Working in groups, though, is a way for you to ground yourself in the humanity of coding. And the idea of, oh, well, maybe I'm not the best coder, but I'm easy to get along with, I'm nice, I explain my ideas well, and I understand the business problem, and we can do this together. It's not about trying to be a 10x developer. That's BS. There's no 10x developer. I know I ran a little bit there. But
No, that was all great, yeah.
Okay.
You mentioned vibe coding as well. I know whenever we were talking about that, and you brought up a great thing that we kind of centered this around, was like systems and building those systems.
I love that. That systems thinking is a thing that we forget. Your teachers are going to be talking about this, but they forget that while you're just trying to remember the syntax of Python or what a neural network is, you need to think about the system within which you exist. Like if we look at my pancreas thing, there's Bluetooth, there's Wi-Fi, there's REST APIs, there's a MySQL database. We took an electron scanning microscope and we tore this apart to figure out how we could talk to the insulin pump. All of that are layers and layers and layers. But if you're like, no React, we were up here. So get uncomfortable. Hey, I know React. Okay, well, do you know raw JavaScript? Can you write vanilla JavaScript? Like, oh, well, I just play Uber. Well, can you drive stick shift? Have you changed your own oil? Do you know how to change a tire? I'm not saying understand the full stack. The stack is deeper than you'll ever be able to conceive. But know where your layer is and go one layer below. A little bit uncomfortable. Try driving stick shift, just a little bit.
With that being said, do you think you have the definition of success for developers as we kind of striving towards?
Yeah. Are you happy? Are you okay? I sleep like a baby. I'm chilling. I live in Portland. I didn't move to Seattle to work for Microsoft. I work on cool stuff. I run the open source programs office. I don't have to sell anything. I am happy. I'm okay. Could my career have gone different? Could I have made a ton of money and drive a different car? Sure. Are you happy? Hopefully you're happy right now. Hopefully you're going to be happy when you're tired in a couple hours and this whole thing's winding down. But the goal of tech is to be happy and make people happy. It's not to vibe code in a room in the Bay with a bunch of other guys making start $1 million. It will not.
I feel like a lot of times that motivation for being at events like this and networking and getting involved is that internship. Like, yeah, I gotta have that internship, I gotta get that job, I'm gonna make 6 figures. But at the end of the day, if you're not happy, then
It'll happen. It'll happen. Just do the work. But remember also that you showed up today. You're here. That already puts you at the 1%. Because you left the dorm and you came here and you're with your community. And this is your community. So like, introduce yourself, get a little uncomfortable, get a little awkward, say hi. Don't just click up on the group that you know.
Do you guys know that there's 4,000 on campus CS students? And there's
4,000?
4,000.
I don't see 4,000 people here.
That's what I'm saying.
Text your friend. What are you doing?
Yeah. We got almost, I'm guessing like 150 to 200 people here. So you guys are already in that 1%. So thanks for being here. And simply by being here, you're already on a path to greater things.
Very well said, sir.
I think we'll wrap up with one last question. If there's one thing that you want to leave these students with, what would that be?
I know everything sucks, but it'll work itself out. It'll take a little while, but it will work itself out. Keep your head up, keep studying, drink water, stay hydrated. Thank you.
Well, that was something. It was great. Our next guest has spent over 2 decades at the intersection of cutting-edge technology and innovation. He's worked at companies like Apple, helped build the backbone of modern networking infrastructure, and today he leads technical marketing for some of the most powerful networking products in the world at NVIDIA. He's not just a leader, he's a storyteller and an engineer and an educator with a passion for bridging the gap between deep tech and real-world networks. And today, he's here to share his journey, the lessons he's learned, and how you can be a part of something bigger. Please join me in welcoming Peter Ritz. How you doing, Peter?
Very good. Truth be told, this is the first time I've been to hackathon. I have no idea what to expect. I'm super excited to be here. Thank you.
Hey, you've had such an impactful career. We have a lot to dive into with you. But I guess starting out, I want to tell the audience a little bit about yourself. How you got here.
So I work in technical marketing at NVIDIA. I've been with the company for about 3 years. Before that, I worked for a series of companies in the Bay Area. Most of my life has been in the Bay Area. I recently moved to Corvallis about 4 years ago, working remotely for a year. I work in technical marketing. People might wonder what exactly is technical marketing. Different people give you different explanations, but there's 2 pieces of technical marketing. There's technical and there's a marketing. Technical piece involves, for example, developing technical content, whether the written content, such as deployment guide, solution note, things like that. It can involve doing technical training. It can involve doing developing a product or solution, working with engineering. So there's a lot of the technical stuff. The marketing stuff is the fun part, where you get to, for example, write a blog, go visit a customer, attend a trade show, things like that, do a webinar. This is on the marketing side. And what's really fascinating about technical marketing is it gives you a little bit of everything. So you're not really a specialist in one particular thing, you have a broad skill set that you can leverage in multiple ways. And that's one of the reasons why I stuck with technical marketing for a while. I absolutely love what I do. It's very interesting. Every single day is different. I don't remember ever having 2 days in a row where I don't think it almost never happens.
That's great. Yeah. I know marketing is something that's huge in terms of just getting things out there and really making people understand what you're selling. Like, what are you doing? You know?
Exactly. And there are 2 pieces in marketing, right? Well, first thing you need to understand who exactly are you marketing, right? The technical audience or the CEOs, whatever. So you have to work on the appropriate message to that particular audience. In my case, my life is easy. I can only focus on the technical audience, which is exactly what they want, what they're looking for. When we take it a step higher, we want to paint a bigger picture, that's other marketing tools get involved.
So when you kind of expand that to a more broad sense of like people who are non-technical, what does that difference look like?
Yeah, I was really having this conversation with a gentleman at the booth earlier. It's very important to understand who you are marketing to and not confuse the message that you want to communicate. Stick to maybe 2 or 3 bullet points that you really want to communicate. Don't over-communicate it. Like if you take an Apple, Apple is extremely good at their marketing. Like probably world-class. My first job after college was at Apple. I worked there for almost 4 years. And that's one thing I learned. It's simplicity, focus, keep it really on target, don't complicate it. So the simplicity of the message is really important because many companies sometimes they can overdo it and this leaves a very confusing message to what exactly are you guys doing.
You've had a pretty long career, and I'm just curious to know, were there any mentors or people who early on just really stuck out to you?
Very good question. I wouldn't say a mentor, although I do recommend having a mentor if you can. I think it will add a lot of value to your life and to your career. I've had people who I work with, who I respected a lot, admired a lot. Even when they left the company, I stayed in touch with them, who really guided me throughout my career. For example, I'll give you a recent example that happened 5 years ago. I was trying to decide between 2 offers, A and B. And both of them were very good. I just wasn't clear to me which one would be a better fit for me. So I had a small group of 5 people who are very successful in their careers. You know, some is a CEO, one is a CMO. They're very successful in what they do. I called them, I had a 15-minute conversation, I picked their mind, I asked them, hey, given the situation, which direction should I go? Should I choose? And they all of them, all 5 of them gave me go with company A. And that to me was like, wow, because I was leading to a company B, but they got me into company A, and looking back, that was the smartest thing I did by going with company A. So it's very important to find those sort of people who really know you, who can really provide you honest advice. They're not trying to sugarcoat it, they're not trying to whatever, they're just trying to be sincere and honest about it. And those are people you should really cherish and maintain the relationship. At the end of the day, it's all about relationships, you know? Find out who those 4 people are, maintain the relationship with them throughout your entire career.
Sure, yeah. We know that you worked at Apple during the Steve Jobs era.
That's correct.
What was that experience like?
Wow. Working for Apple was probably one of the best experiences of my life. I was fresh out of college. I studied computer science. And I want to tell you this small story because I think it'll be relevant to the science. While I was going to school studying computer science, I got a temporary job, testing software for the Newton. I don't know if you guys remember the Newton. It's like really old before the iPhone. I worked with that company for 6 months testing software. So I would start my day at 5 a.m. in the morning, take the bus for 1 hour, go to that company, work from 6 a.m. to 9 a.m., testing the Newton, then go to school, do my computer science classes all the way till about 7 p.m., study from 7 p.m. till about 11 p.m., go sleep at midnight, and repeat the next day. I did that for 2 years. I don't remember those 2 years of my life, literally, just like that. All I remember is that wake up at 5 a.m., go to midnight, 5 a.m., midnight, including weekends. But sacrifice and paid off big time. How did it pay off? First thing, the 6 months experience that I did testing in Newton allowed me to get a contract job at Apple. I got a contract job, I worked it for 6 months, and after 6 months, I was offered a full-time job. It all started by me testing in Newton to eventually getting a full-time job at Apple. And here's the amazing part. I got the job at Apple right before I graduated. I was the only student in my class to actually have a full-time job at a computer company on graduation day, which I don't know how many people do that. To me, it was like a shocker, like, oh my God, like, people were still trying to figure out, like, where do I work and what do they have? And it really paid off because of the sacrifices you made. So my advice to you, if you have any opportunity you can to find an internship, find a part-time job, find something to start building your skill set early on. Not wait for the graduation day. Do not wait till you get the degree and then look for a job. Start earlier. Build your experience. Build your connections. It's going to come in very handy and very helpful. And that has served me very well.
That being said, one final question. What kind of advice, or what's the number one thing you want students to remember when they're doing this? You kind of already mentioned it, but...
Yeah. So, look, I mean, I'm going to say the obvious here. There is no replacement for hard work, right? You have to put in the hours. You have to put in the time. I go back to where my career started, at 5 a.m. till midnight every day for 3 years. You have to put in the time. So make sure you put in the time and the effort and the energy to kind of give you the first level to get there. The other thing is the discipline. It's so important that you have discipline in what you do. The gentleman earlier was talking about how people start like 5, 6 YouTube channel, videos and then they drop off. Again, lack of discipline. So find something you're passionate about, stick to it, work really hard, it will eventually pay off. And the last thing I want to mention, and this is really, really important, is you have to be passionate about what you do. You have to really enjoy it. You have to truly soak it in. I wouldn't be doing what I'm doing if I didn't enjoy it. I could be doing something else, but I genuinely enjoy what I do. I go to work every day knowing that my work is going to make an impact, knowing that I'm contributing to a bigger cause. So when you tie your work that you're doing to something that's bigger, that's going to have an impact, that will motivate you to keep going on and on. So again, to summarize, put in the hard work, make sure you have discipline, and then you lead to great things in your life.
Hey, can we get a round of applause? Can we get the third chair up? Because we have two guests next. I want to take a moment to introduce them while we get the chair set up. Good. There we go. Yeah. So these two are actually alumni from OSU. They studied here computer science, and honestly, I think their reputation speaks for itself. I think we're just going to welcome them up. Can we welcome Sonia and Elke from Nike?
Hi everyone, I'm Sonia Camacho. I graduated in 2021. I did the computer science systems route, and then I did the accelerated master's and got a master's of engineering in computer science. And now I'm a digital accessibility software engineer at Nike.
Yeah, but I'll just introduce myself. I'm LK. I did the computer science applied route with business and entrepreneurship focus. I'm now a software engineer working on the materials and colors team.
So both of you, you're alumni from OSU, and I know that we were talking over Zoom, and there's a lot of things that we're talking about that related on, like Rob Hess and Alex Geyer, some of the greatest professors. But I just want to know what your journeys were like. We can start with Sonia, going from OSU to Nike.
Yeah, actually, Elke, you should start, because he was a year ahead of me and honestly inspired kind of where my route.
Yeah, so I'll start. Sophomore year, everyone's stressing out over getting an internship and whatnot. And I lived with a roommate who was genius, like God tier coder, got a internship at Google his sophomore year. And I'm applying everywhere, getting rejected. But let me dive into that story real quick. So sophomore year, I applied to the Nike internship and didn't get it. And I just thought, okay, I think I'm a failure. My roommate right next to me, he's working at Google. I'm cooked, right? That's what I thought anyway. From there, it's just I kept my head down, kept going to class, doing the best I could. Junior year, Nike actually reached back out to me and asked me to apply again. And at this point, I'm like, all right, I'm just gonna get rejected again or whatever. Let's try it anyway. I applied junior year, get the internship, did a good job at the internship, get a return offer, and that was my pipeline out of college. So all that to say, just get your name out there. Getting your name out there is one of the most important keys to getting to the professional field, because if they don't even know you exist, of course they're not going to reach out. So do not be discouraged with rejection.
Yeah, definitely don't give up. So I actually have kind of a similar journey. So, growing up, I love fashion, I love technology, love like solving puzzles. Give me a problem and I want to solve it. And so I knew that I wanted to go towards a company kind of like Macy's, Nordstrom. I didn't even really think about Nike as an apparel company, but every company needs people in tech. Saw Elke did the internship. And then I actually sat next to his recruiter on a plane coming home from Grace Hopper conference, and that's how I got my initial interview junior year. I also bombed that interview, so I got to the 5th and final round. They were like, what's an API? And I just choked up, and then I got a rejection call. But again, perseverance and resilience, I didn't give up. I studied way harder. And actually, this was kind of amidst COVID and everything too, so I ended up applying to the Accelerated Master's program, which gave me that extra summer. And that's when I got my internship offer with Nike. So that's kind of my route, our journeys to Nike.
And very impressive stories, guys. So Sonia, I know you make a lot of content online. You're a content creator with over, I think, 20,000 followers on Instagram. Pretty big, you guys got celebrity here. And I know your content focuses a lot about, your experience as like a minority and stuff. And I can imagine that's something that's pretty close to your heart.
Yeah.
But I guess what inspired you to kind of go in that direction and start making content? Because as you mentioned with Scott, that's not something that's normal for people in our field.
Totally. So, I mean, times have changed. TikTok, Instagram, everything is like booming now. But at the time, my sister, she's actually an alumni as well. She did mechanical engineering. And so I was able to have a few extra years here with her. But the minute that she graduated, I was like, oh my God, my built-in best friend is gone. And like, this is how people feel who don't go to, college with their sister. So I had like no idea like how to reserve a study room or like where to go for color printing and just those little things, right? And I always loved, being on, at the time it was like more like Snapchat and like vlogging and stuff. So I was like, I can start sharing kind of my journey online. And I was also a teaching assistant for CS like 161 and 162. And I was seeing a lot of girls coming to my office hours with the same questions and problems that I had when I was in those classes. So I was like, you know what, I can definitely, again, give me a problem and I want to solve it. So I started making coding tutorials for a lot of the different, like prompts and stuff that we were working on in class. And so it was just a way for me to share my unique journey. And I want all of you to know that you have a unique journey yourself. For me, it was the intersection of being a Latina in STEM and going to class and not seeing literally anyone who looked like me, and still in my job, I go to meetings and I'm the only Latina in the room. But that's definitely something that I really wanted to share. And it became my full-time job. And I actually made over $20,000 in school while going to school full-time, working with brands and doing content creation. So I want that to be inspiring to you guys. I don't sit up here and say like, oh, I made all this money. No, it's because there's money out there to be made. And you guys are all capable of harnessing that power and sharing your story and all of that. So.
How do you think we can provide more opportunities for people or minorities?
I think it's definitely about access and representation. So I think it's definitely starting in the earlier years. That doesn't really apply to you guys right now, right? But I think like giving back and going to speak to younger students, but also the clubs that are here. Like I was just telling LJ, I was like, look at all these clubs that didn't exist when we were in school. And I think that it's about joining those, finding your community and uplifting each other and finding ways to kind of get the word out there that there are even these opportunities. My favorite saying is you cannot be what you cannot see, and that's a driving motivation for why I share my life on social media. Because if you don't see someone who looks like you, acts like you, talks like you, how will you know that you can do it?
And I'll add on to that too. I think part of that is our job right now as people who made it in their career to come talk to folks like y'all. And then it's on y'all next. Once you guys go into the field and make great careers for yourself, it's your turn to give back and inspire that next generation.
How do you think students can get more involved in this field?
Well, I would just say try. To be honest, I didn't join any of the clubs or anything like that. I was very lucky in my track, but I think y'all are on the right path, joining these hackathons, being involved in your clubs. I will say, try joining a club that has nothing to do with technology too, and see the connections you make out there, and see how it feels to feel a little bit of an outcast, or who knows, you might surprise yourself to be the top, contributor to that group. But you never know until you try. And I think that right now is a super safe time to go out and experience life where there's not too much risk involved, right? If you join a softball team and aren't very good, it's not like getting fired for that. Yeah, I'd say just go out there, try all the different clubs. Continue doing what you're doing now. You guys are all on the right path. Just enjoy the journey and the results will come.
I do want to piggyback off that and say, like, definitely get comfortable being uncomfortable. Some of my skills that got me this job, so I did the systems route and I had to take classes in the ECU, right? And I remember being like, I hate electrical engineering with a passion, but that's where I learned to like solder and do all this cool stuff. And I actually made a programmable LED jacket and pressure sensor high heels, again, the intersection of fashion and technology. And I had, those were great skills that I learned that I was able to talk about in my interviews and stuff. So that was another thing that I wanted to mention. I'm sure you all have multiple passions outside of just coding and tech and whatever it may be. So try and find how you can really marry those two, and that's probably how you're gonna find what you'll do for the rest of your life. That kind of helps.
Can we give a hand to Sonia and Elke?
Who wants this?
So take it back. Next up, we have two people who are helping push the boundaries of tech at Rock, a company that's redefining how we think about AI and performance at scale. First, we have Graham Steele. Yes. Graham Steele, he's a senior product manager at Rock, who has worked at companies like Intel, helping launch and position groundbreaking technologies at global scale. And with him is Chris Ho, a sophomore year at Oregon State intern at Grok. He's also part of our BeaverHacks and was an instrumental part of helping us build it to what it is today. Please, let's get a hand for these two. So you guys like to take a moment to just introduce yourselves?
Yeah, sure thing. Graham Steele, I'm a senior product marketing manager at Grok. Been there for about 4 years, and I'm actually an Oregon State alumni myself, graduated in 2015.
So, Chris, I'm a sophomore CS major here at OSU, and I'm currently interning at Grok as an AI engineer.
So since you guys work together both at Grok, I guess we'll start with Graham and then we'll move to Chris. What kind of drew you to working with this company in particular?
Good question. So I started at Grok 4 years ago, and at the time I was working at Intel, I had a boss who I was working for who had left. She was leading product at Grok at the time. She just reached out to me. She said, "Hey, I have a great opportunity for you. Go through the interview process." Didn't know anything about Grok at the time. I'd never heard of them. Went through the interview process, and then ended up chatting with the CEO one night for 3 hours, and I was sold. He just convinced me to make the move, and I never looked back.
Wow, that's a crazy story.
Yeah, for me, I applied to a bunch of jobs, and Grok responded back to me in November, and I started working as an intern in January, and I'll do so up until every day. Yeah, just being on the cutting edge of like AI inference and being a part of that, new and exciting and being a part of it.
What's the most exciting thing about working at Grok? You can start with some more again.
I mean, there's a lot of exciting things. I would say the most exciting thing is like one, just being on the forefront of what's happening in the space. I feel like every 2 weeks I'm learning about some new models, some new technique, constantly having to stay educated, but also being able to like be at events like this and give back. I've attended, I think, 15 hackathons over the past 6 months, and I'm finally excited for us to be here at Oregon State, and I really wanted us to sponsor this, help give back to the Oregon State community.
Yeah, for me, it's definitely like the work I do. My specific role is I make customer demos of projects using our API to kind of like hack that project. And so I get paid to do and make cool things.
He is constantly coding.
Hey, we know Chris likes to code. What can students do at this hackathon to kind of prepare themselves to get a job, maybe at Grok or somewhere else in the industry?
The number one thing I tell students these days is build cool things, post it online, and tag the company that you built on top of. I've actually hired 2 interns now from them just doing that, one of which is still at Grok and is like leading huge efforts. And so just be visible, get yourself out there and post stuff and make it public. That's going to allow you to stand out from the rest of the pack. You just submit your resume, you might get the job, but you're not going to differentiate yourself. So you want to demonstrate your skills and experience.
Yeah. So making projects for hackathons, you can put it on the resume, And I think that's how I sort of got under here in the first place, because I had an AI adjacent project from a hackathon. Graham said like the past 2 years before, and I will actually made and build something cool on Rock, and that's how they got discovered, and that's how they got finished.
And this might be a little repetitive, but do you guys have any like big advice for students who are competing in hackathon today in terms of just the projects they're building? We got new people, and we have a lot of people who've never competed in hackathon before. They've never coded a project before, and they're just to kind of put themselves out there. What's your like big takeaway advice to them?
So, a few things. One, have fun. That's why you're here. Make new friends and like learn new things. I would say for your project itself, I get asked a question all the time at hackathons like, how do I know I have a winning project? What I like to tell folks is if your project's something that you would pay for or invest in, that's how you know it's a winning project. But the most important thing when you get to the end, you're done coding, I know you guys are going to be really tired tomorrow during the judging process, spend some time practicing your pitch and getting that down in front of the judges. I've been at hackathons before where the project wasn't even fully working, but they had a great pitch and ended up winning because they sold the story and the narrative of what it could do.
3 words, build on rock. Love that.
Hey, can we give you guys a hand? Next up, Owen is going to come up and, Owen is going to interview our SWE representative. So give Owen a hand as he introduces him.
What's up, everyone? I've been involved with SWE for a little bit now, and I'm really thrilled to announce them as our sponsor this year. Without further ado, I'd like to welcome Z from the SWE Foundation. Hey, can you tell us just a little bit about who you are, how you got involved in SWE, and what exactly is SWE?
Yes, sure. My name is Z. I'm a developer relations engineer at SWE. So, what is SWE? Well, SWE is a high-performance blockchain that was meant to bring the developer experience of Web 2 to the blockchain world. Why is it called SWE? You may ask. It means water, it means one of the East Asian languages.
Cool. Well, I'm pretty interested in getting into the crypto space, and I know you might have some other people who are. So can you tell like just some actions you took while you were in college and after college to get into this kind of niche field?
Okay, yeah, so I graduated actually almost 10 years ago. So I think during that time, there was a little bit of I guess downturn in the economy, and I guess Ethereum at that time also just launched. So me and 2 other friends, basically, we did a startup, pretty much exactly like you saw on Silicon Valley. We actually, rented a house at a friend's place, and we were just been working day and night for 2 years. Unfortunately, it didn't work out. Like 99% of startups.
Nice. Did you ever talk to Vita like Ruth or Lynn from Ethereum?
Vitalik, the V God. Unfortunately not. But during that time, if we spent the money to just buy Ethereum, right, we would have been very, very well off at this point.
Yeah. So what type of projects are you guys looking for from students here to build? Because blockchain is a little bit confusing. It's not totally clear like what type of things you can build. So anything you're looking for?
Yeah, so recently we launched a system called Walrus. It's basically a decentralized storage system. So you can imagine having a fully fledged out peer-to-peer file sharing network, maybe. Also WikiLeaks clone, maybe, right? Also maybe decentralized DocuSign clone. We also have a lot of those project ideas that's also shared at the Discord channel for you guys to kind of pick and choose. There are also reasons why you should care about decentralization and decentralized storage in general.
Nice. Yeah, so like many of you guys, I was at Hackathon last year, and I saw Studio as a sponsor, and I had never written a single smart contract in my life, but our team decided to build on the sweet track and we ended up winning. That's kind of how I got connected. That's why I'm here today. I've been doing grant work for them, flying us on to Dubai soon. So I just want to hear about like, what other opportunities do you have for students beyond just this hackathon this weekend?
Yep, for sure. So as a follow-up to this hackathon, we have actually an ongoing hackathon as well, a global hackathon that ends in the middle of May. That's going to have even higher stake for you to kind of polish up your project and submit there. Additionally, for PhD students sitting here, we do have some of the internship programs for people doing research in the blockchain space. For just regular students, we will have student ambassador programs more on the technical side coming up. So feel free to talk to me, talk to Owen about these opportunities there. Hackathon is just a great way to get involved, get your name out there in the student ecosystem. We have a lot of the startups working on the student ecosystem that are hiring. So the links also I posted on the Discord channel for some of the jobs postings there.
Yeah, so if you guys are interested in doing a sweet track, feel free to find me, at the event. Look us up in the Discord. There's another rep online. We'd be more than happy to hear you guys' ideas, help you guys build your stuff. They're offering $1,000 in first place, one of the biggest cash prizes. So I really recommend you jump on the sweet track. That's what I got.
Yeah, thank you very much.
All right, everyone. Our final guest. He is an alumni from OSU, and he has had over 6 big tech internships. He's the former president of App Development Club. I think his reputation precedes him. Most of you know who he is. Can I get a warm welcome for the main man, Tom Newman?
So we're just going to stand for this. If you want to start, me and Scott had a conversation before this. We're going to stand to start, we're going to stand to end. Let's do it.
Okay. Do you want to introduce yourself a bit? Tell them who you are for whoever doesn't know.
Yeah. So I'm Tom Newman, former president of App Development Club, webmaster of ACM. Honestly, did it all. And it's honestly an honor to be back in my alma mater for what, the biggest hackathon in OSU history.
Biggest hackathon in Oregon.
Wow. And you guys had the audacity to give me a mic. But, yeah. So honestly, it's kind of funny because I started school in 2020, and when I did the first hackathon here in 2020, there's 13 people who participated. So we've come a long way, and it's honestly partially due to where's that like Owen and a bunch of other faces I can't name, but so thank you guys. So just as much recognition for y'all as well.
Thank you.
No problem.
For those of you who don't know, Tom was actually the one. I don't know if you remember this, but you sent me the link to the Hackathon Club Discord server.
Wow.
Yeah.
Look at this now.
It's crazy. I remember we came in one time, right after I got brought on as president, and then I came to see you. And because like you're the guy, like I remember freshman term, we were doing app dev, and I'd go to the meetings and you'd be like, oh, man.
Yes, that's a good time.
And then you sat right there in the traditional Kelly seating and we talked about it. And then I was like, dude, like, I want to do something big here. And then you were like, you can make it happen. And here we are. So, can we get another round of applause?
Yeah, so I want to do kind of a Q&A, kind of informal type of thing. How many of you is this your first hackathon ever? Welcome. Yeah, you should be really excited. Honestly, I don't want to keep this like super serious, super informal. So the one advice I have for you is to embrace the suck. It's going to suck being up for 24 hours or 15 hours or however long you're up for. It's going to suck possibly being hungry and everything in Corvallis closes at 8 o'clock. But if you embrace that suck and embrace it to new levels that you've never been before, and that's how you get a successful project. And I honestly want to echo some of the things people before me have said, that the demo, like you said, marketing really matters. When I won first place at HackerHacks, the biggest hackathon in the world, what we did is that our project was like 1/5 of the way done with like 2 hours left. But we mustered it in our demo. We had a great pitch ready, and that's where we were in first place. So honestly, honestly, what I want to say is that sometimes the thing you build and what it needs and what who's building for matters more than the actual like technical stack that you use or other details. So yeah, just really embrace the suck and have a lot of fun presenting and doing. So yeah. Any other questions?
Loki, what have you been doing after college, bro?
Yeah. So right before I graduated, I worked on this another hackathon, and I got second place for Afrotech, which is essentially a conference for Black people in tech. I won $5,000, but I also started partnering with OHSU, so they offered me a huge grant, about like $300,000, to work on a hackathon. So I'd honestly embrace a lot of people to do that. You don't always have to go like the traditional track into big tech, etc. So yeah.
You've been known at most of the clubs to give your big tech internship talks because you're famous for landing a ton of big tech internships. We've kind of talked about all the tips and all that stuff a lot of times, but I guess what's something that people should be focusing on other than, because we know people want to, we know people want to get that, but something other than the lead code, like the technical. What else should people be focusing on when they want to land jobs?
Be a good person. I know that's hard for a lot of you in this room. CS is naturally a high EQ, high IQ, low EQ field. So I really want to say that all of the technical stuff you can learn that. All of the chops, all of the data structures, all of the React, the JavaScript, the Python, the Golang, you can learn all of that. But first and foremost, always be a good person, because that'll take you farther than any one job, one interview. Some of the people who me spoke about it, maybe they failed the interview the first time, but they stayed consistent. So honestly, be a good person, and that'll take you farther than anything specific.
And we kind of asked this question to other people in the panel, but there's a lot of people here who haven't competed in the hackathon before. As someone who has competed in too many hackathons to count, I'm honestly got this kind of a side thing, but like I'm kind of glad he's not competing because he went to every single one of our hackathons.
Did I win like 9 straight?
I don't even know, like honestly, I'm happy to have you here, but I'm like glad you're not competing.
Yeah, so I guess advice for hackers. Yeah, so I did mention before, your demo does matter. No one's really going to look super deep at your code as long as you're not cheating. But what I would say is that first, build for you. Build for someone, the customers you're the first person to use your app. Don't just do, I'm building Tinder for dogs. Instead, put a button on the page. Instead, get your first API request going. So really start small and do incrementally to further shift your project. I think that's the big thing for me. Because if you think in a really large scope about your project, it's going to seem overwhelming. So really start small and grow as you go. That's probably the best advice, besides everything else.
What about our senior coders, people who have, done, maybe they're like halfway, 3/4 through their college career, and they've competed maybe one or two hackathons, they're nowhere near this.
Yeah, a big thing, if you don't already know, software engineering, we work in groups, we work in teams, we work in small, agile teams. So a big thing is embrace your team. If this is like your 15th hackathon, you can still gain advice and gain knowledge from your team. So use them like you use any other person, a TA, professor, etc. Because in groups, you can do things greater than ourselves. Even if you've been to like 50,000 hackathons or whatever. Even me, sometimes some hackathons I have like a bad day. So I embrace my team. Maybe they can buy the code back then.
Maybe. Do you have any advice, any last words, any words of motivation for our hackers?
What tracks, can we get like a survey? What tracks are everyone's doing? Raise your hand if you plan on doing Google. Raise your hand if you plan on doing SUI. Raise your hand if you plan on doing App Development Club. Woo! Raise your hand if you plan on doing the NVIDIA track. Okay. Oh, wow. Am I missing any? ACM? Nice. Good luck to all of you, and Abel, once again, thank you for having me, brother.
Thanks for coming, man. Hey, we gotta figure out that mic setup. So, one or two couple things to say. Some of you might be expecting lunch. Maybe we said 2 meals, but we're not providing lunch right now. Monroe Avenue is really close. There's a bunch of stores. If you're hungry, just go grab something. I can see some people have already gotten stuff. Okay, yeah. Wait, do you guys want to go on stage? Well, yeah, if you're hungry, we'll be serving dinner at 6 p.m., but there's no lunch right now. So I have nothing here to give an announcement.
morning. So I'm a professor here and we are in the AI for SC group and we are super psyched to see how we might be using any form of generative AI in your company. So we would like to combine the hacks or engineers. We would like to combine and observe you, if that's okay. So my team will come and talk to you if it's comfortable, having us observe you, just say yes, if not, that's perfectly fine. That's all I have to say. I will combine and talk to you.
Thank you. Quick show of hands. Who here does not have a team set up? Okay. So we got a couple people. Can we see who is competing for the first time in a hackathon today? Wow. Wow, that's a lot. Who here has competed in a hackathon before? Okay, so we're pretty evenly split there. If you do not have a team yet and you want to compete in a team, we have staff stationed in the white shirts. Go find one of them and they will get you someone to work with on this competition. We don't want you to be left out or nervous at all. We're also going to be having some of our industry people give workshops and talks, so they'll be kind of guiding you through the basics and kind of taking you through what you need to know for this event. But yeah, just a couple final words. You know, if you're here, you are in that 1% of CI students. There's 4,000 on-campus computer science students, but 5,000 CI students total counting campus. And there's only 150, maybe 200 people here, 300 people competing in the hackathon as a whole. And so if you're here, you are in that 1%, and you are here for bigger things. So I just want to thank you for being a part of something bigger than yourself and being a part of Oregon's biggest hackathon. And with that being said, welcome to BeaverHacks 2025. Thank you. Hey, if you're not registered for the hackathon, please report to the front desk. We just want to clarify that everyone here is competing and part of this event. We have limited supplies, so we just want to make sure that is all clear. So please go to the front desk if you are not registered for the hackathon. Thank you.
Okay.